The heart center. What is heart? Ramana Maharshi's explanations and in-depth information of heart during various conversations with devotees are presented here. Even though the theme is the same, the conversations occurred at different times with different people. Here are some of Maharishi's explanations taken from a few conversations. Maharshi: heart is usually understood to be the muscular organ lying on the left of the chest. The modern psychological review speaks of the physical organ on the left and the heart center on the right. The Bible says that a fool's heart is on the left and a wise man's on the right. Yoga Vashishta says that there are two hearts. The one is Samvit, existence, intelligence, awareness, and the other, the blood vessel. Another conversation. Maharshi: you cannot know the heart with your mind. Pointing to the right side of the chest, Maharishi continued, you cannot realize it by imagination when I tell you, here is the center. The only direct way to realize it is to cease to fantasize and try to be yourself. When you realize it, you automatically feel that the center is there. This is the center, the heart, spoken of in the scriptures as Hrit Guha Arul, grace in the cave of the heart, Ullam, that which is the heart. Another conversation. Maharshi: I ask you to see from where the I arises in the body. But it is really not quite correct to say that the I rises from and merges in the heart in the right side of the chest. The heart is another name for reality, and it is neither inside nor outside the body. There can be no in or out for it, since it alone is. Another conversation. Maharshi: the heart is used in the Vedas and the scriptures to denote the place from where the notion I springs. Does it spring only from the fleshy ball? It springs within us somewhere right in the middle of our being. The I has no location. Everything is the self. There is nothing but that. So the heart must be said to be the entire body of ourselves and of the entire universe, conceived as I. But to help the practicer, we have to indicate a definite part of the universe or of the body. So this heart is pointed out as the seat of the self. But in truth, we are everywhere, we are all that is, and there is nothing else. Another conversation. Maharishi was asked by an educated young man, how do you say that the heart is on the right, whereas the biologists have found it to be on the left? The man asked for authority. Maharshi: quite so. The physical organ is on the left. That is not denied. But the heart of which I speak is non-physical, and it is only on the right side. It is my experience. No authority is required by me. Still, you can find confirmation in a Malayalam Ayurvedic book and in Sita Upanishad. And Maharishi produced the quotation mantra from the latter and repeated the text sloka from the former. Another conversation. Maharshi, you are always in the self, and there is no reaching it. Visitor, you have spoken of the heart as the seat of meditation? Maharshi, yes, it is also that. Visitor, what is heart? Maharshi, it is the center of the self. The self is the center of centers. The heart represents the psychic center and not the physical center. Another conversation. Visitor, what is the heart? Maharshi, it is the seat, if such could be said of it, of the self. Visitor, is it the physical heart? Maharshi, no, it is the seat from where I arises. Ramana Maharshi refers to I as the ego and I as the real self. Another conversation. A gentleman asked where the heart is and what realization is. Maharshi, the heart is not physical, it is spiritual. Hridayam is Hrit plus Ayam, heart. This is the center. It is that from which thoughts arise, on which they subsist, and where they are resolved. The thoughts are the content of the mind, and they shape the universe. The heart is the center of all. Yato va imani bhutani jayante. That from which these beings come into existence, and so on, is said to be Brahman in the Upanishads. That is the heart. Brahman is the heart. Visitor, how to realize the heart? Maharshi, there is no one who even for a trice fails to experience the self, for no one admits that he ever stands apart from the self. He is the self. The self is the heart. Visitor, it is not clear. Maharshi, in deep sleep you exist, awake you remain. The same self is in both states. The difference is only in the awareness and the non-awareness of the world. The world rises with the mind and sets with the mind. That which rises and sets is not the self. The self is different, giving rise to the mind, sustaining it, and resolving it. So the self is the underlying principle. When asked who you are, you place your hand on the right side of the chest and say, I am. There you involuntarily point out the self. The self is thus known. But the individual is miserable because he confounds the mind and the body with the self. This confusion is due to wrong knowledge. Elimination of wrong knowledge is alone needed. Such elimination results in realization. Another conversation. A Spanish lady asked, you say the heart is on the right. Can you explain how it is so? Maharishi handed over the extract from the Psychological Review of Philadelphia for her to read. He also added, the heart is the place from where the I thought arises. Visitor. So you mean the spiritual heart as distinguished from the physical heart? Maharshi. Yes, it is explained in chapter 5 of Sri Ramana Gita. Visitor. Is there any stage when one might feel the heart? Maharshi. It is within the experience of everyone. Everyone touches the right side of his chest when he says I. One more conversation. A judge asked, the heart is said to be experienced on the right. Physiologically, it is on the left. Maharshi. Spiritual experience is spoken of. Visitor. Is it the psychic heart? Maharshi. Yes. Visitor. How to know that it is on the right? Maharshi. By experience. Visitor. Is there any indication to that effect? Maharshi. Point out to yourself and see.